Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back again. You know what I'm saying? Trying to show some new builds. Today I wanted to check this new Blight out because I love Blight since season 5, season 6, and I wanted to see the damage on this. And I'm gonna go over my build and talk about it in depth a bit because, like, I swear, like nobody's doing Blight, and I was playing around with Blight today. Just literally had some stuff because I grinded out the Ire Perdition. I grinded out the Shroud of False Death or whatever. And it's just like I'm so like confused on why Blight is so good right now. Blight is hitting hard, bro. Like there's two different types of Blight builds that I would do. Well, actually, it's about three. And I'm gonna go over that. I only do two in this build, but there's like a hybrid blight build too that we can go over too. But the main damage over time blight build that we're gonna talk about is just purely blight. So we're not gonna talk about the hybrid blight. We're gonna talk about purely blight. I mean, we're gonna leave the hybrid blight for later, right? So for your pure blight, we're using a two-handed axe. Okay, you want the damage over time. Okay. Um, Also, you're gonna want pretty much at least 50% attack speed with this build. This build needs the attack speed, okay? Also, you're definitely 100%. If you're not running this build, if you are running this build, you're gonna want every piercer. Every piercer is gonna make this build shotgun. Everybody should know this by now. If you played a Necro at one point in time in your life, Evan Piercer is the reason why Blight is broken. Not really broken, but it's going to be able to do these picks. Okay, I think Blight was able to do these picks last season. I played around with it. I only got to like pit 85, but last season I felt like Blight was a lot weaker, especially with the buff to the Wither node and the buff to the Shadow Blight passives. Okay, those two are really what's making the Blight build go bonkers right now. Right? So like our damage is going crazy right now. Another thing about Blight is Blight cannot do vulnerable by itself. So there's two ways you can make vulnerable on your build. And yes, I died. I'm showing all deaths because I feel like people don't show this enough, and I'm gonna show it by the way too. But there's two ways you can put vulnerable on your build. There's the witch powers, which I don't recommend unless you really don't have any space on your ring. And again, second one is your ring. Okay, ring or amulet, preferably your ring. The reason is because your ring slot. If you need resources or anything like that, you're gonna put it from your ring. For me, for my blight build right now, my great axe doesn't have primary resources to chance to restore on my weapon. I'm literally like trying to enchant it, and I did not get lucky on my great axe. I'm at 5 million gold per chance to enchant to try to even get that, and it's not looking too common for my two-handed axe. So what I did instead was um, I just added the shadow damage. Right? I said, fuck it. I'm just gonna I do additional shadow damage, and then on the top of that, on the tempers, like on the tempers that you can add, I added a passive temper that every time you use a corpse, you take additional percentage out. It added +4, so right now I'm at like a +6 or something. Right now, at a masterwork level 8 weapon. It's at a +6, which I'll show you that it's really strong. Like it's helping my build immensely with this. Okay, reason is the reason why you don't care for double blight too crazy because you already want to have that on your amulet, and you could probably get up to a 60% chance on the double blight on the amulet. Um, Again, you would gain more damage off of those passives on your weapon, which is nice. I didn't even know that we had passives on weapons. That has to be new. So now that we have passives on weapons, I think that's crazy. As for um, everything else with this build, the thing with this build is you're gonna for your aspects, right? I used the aspect of the damned, aspect of the great feast. On my weapon, I used the shadow blight aspects that every time you do like about 10 damage, 10 times it ticks, you do more additional damage, and like things like it's multiplicative damage. It's a lot of damage, which you'll be seeing here. You'll be seeing it hit billions. Um, and the thing about this versus like I would say a Sever build, Shadow Blight, the billions take per second, and then when you have the occult gem that increases it by plus 50% tick speed, the ticks are going fast. Your DPS is flying. Like you'll be able to destroy mobs very fast. Packs are dying very fast. You can do anything with this build, honestly. The occult gem definitely helps this. It definitely is a quality of life item with this build. What I mean is, it's so good. I didn't expect it to be that good, but you do notice the difference in speed. Okay. With my Sever build that I tried this, I literally tried the same thing because Sever and we share similar armor, but not 100% the same. Like I wouldn't do damage over time on my rings or stuff like that. I made chance to make vulnerable. So, for the most part, I kept the same gloves, which is literally core skills, max life, and I think another thing. I think I changed my shoes, my boots to do more blight. Pretty much blight size because you want bigger blight sizes for AoE damage. And you know, yeah. See, right here, I'm shotgunning with the boss, and you're looking at the damage is going bonkers right now. And then the consistency of the movement speed right now, because I have a lot of movement speed. I have like 185% movement speed with this build with Blight going on, and then also because you're using the Ebon Piercer, the Reaper's Pursuit, your movement speed for each shadow skill is going up by like right now for me at Reaper Pursuit 9 it's going up by 18% for each shadow skill, and I have about 4 on my bar. So 4 shadow skills, 18%, that's about 20%, that's about 80% additional movement speed right there. That's a lot of damage. That's about, it's 18%, but we're gonna round it up to 20% because I'm trying to do quick math right now. It's about it's about a good 80% multiplicative damage on top of everything. And then I have gloom. I have +5 to gloom on my amulet too. And then with that, you know, double chance to blight. So that's multiple damage and procs. It's really good. The damage is really, really good on this build. I'm honestly, it's crazy to say this. I like Blight at the moment a little bit more than Sever. I think Sever, because of the overpower procs, is going to be able to hit high, but it just depends on everything else. Okay, because of that, that's the reason why I'm loving Blight. Okay, Blight is looking really really good right now. At this point in the video, this is the second. I was able to fit in another pit because I was running the pits like in 3 to 6 minutes with Blight, which is really amazing right now. The clear is very good for this build, but I wanted to show the other skill version of Blight, which is the one that makes everything frozen, because you can actually take advantage of your other passive, your terror passive, and that passive you have to freeze the enemies, and you get additional damage. I mean multiplicative damage for that too, like another 18. For me, it's 18%. So like that's really good. Like it's gonna you lose 20% damage, but you gain another additional like 18%. That makes sense. So you're still getting damage. You're still getting your damage back. And to me, it looked like I actually was getting more damage for this because of the terror. So I'm not 100% sure how that works. And if anybody in the comment section could tell me why is that the case that I'm looking like on my build, maybe it just rounded up or something. But I feel like it was giving me more damage. The crowd control was way better too, by the way. Like the crowd control, like I just felt a lot safer with it. Maybe it's just a me thing, maybe it was a feeling thing. The numbers looked almost the same, literally almost the exact same. I would say this build was just a little bit more consistent with the billions versus the the 20% multiplicative, just you know, raw damage. Because I don't know, it was kind of interesting. But I will say again, I do notice the frozen enemies and the control with them while they're being feared. It's so beautiful, the effects that's going on with the blight. I think they did a really good job with the blight buffs and everything like that. Um, Again, I show my Paragon tree. I'm only Paragon like 205 right now. Literally, I've been grinding out. I've been going crazy, bro. I've been going insane bosses, bro. My luck has not been the best. I literally had to craft my Shroud of False Death and my Ire Pierce. Like literally in one day, I just crafted it yesterday. Literally, well, actually this morning. And I'm like, it took so much effort for me to get that. I was just not lucky, bro. I was grinding out so many mobs. I had like 3 Endario drops, 2 Tyraels mites, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sacrifice these. And then I had also extra resplendent sparks, so I just sacrificed 1 Tyrael and like 1 Endariel's, and I had already 2 resplendent, so I just got another 2, and I just was like, I really need these 2 to get my other builds online. I got tired of doing Blood Wave. That's another thing. I feel like a lot of people have been coming to Necro only because of Blood Wave. And I feel like Necro is strong all around right now. I do feel like Necro is strong all around. But back to the topic. Back on topic. I know I was noticing too. Blight. I felt like Blight was getting the. I feel like Blight was covering a lot of my cooldowns way faster than what Sever would have done. Like way faster, especially my ultimate cooldown Soul Rift. It was literally recovering everything much faster. At this point, literally, I'm only having like I think on my gear I only have one primary research to restore, and that's on my ring. It's like 15%, which is good. It still helps because I'm doing like multiple hits, and that's lucky hit chance is about like 50-60%, I think, at the moment. But I think with that helping with my resource sustain and me not using, I still use quacks, I think, but I'm not using Zan anymore. So I think I'm using Lith quacks or Igni quacks, Lith, I think Ohm. Yeah, I'm using those 2 combos. That's helping with the damage. That's helping with the 15%, another 15% damage on top of that too, on top of the double damage with the blights. Another thing with the blight is like the quacks does work with the blight damage, so your blight damage will be going crazy. It will boost it. So your quacks damage will be doing a lot of damage. Like, and it's really good. It feels good. It feels really good. Um Movement speed wise, I will say with movement speed wise with this build, because of the Reaper's Pursuit, you just feel very nimble with this build. I think this build makes you feel very, very nimble. I think when I tried farming with this build it just does everything very well. It has range damage, it has damage while you're, trying to zone the monsters, come back. Everything is good. Like versus Sever, you lose damage, uptime, and everything like that. Also, let's talk about the third build. Speaking of Sever, there's another hybrid variation of pretty much Blight where you can keep the amulet and then you'll put on the empty grave tombs boots, right? And because that will do damage over time as well with Sever, and you'll combine those, right? But the only thing is, you probably want to Ring of Starless Skies too, so you can continue the you won't lose as much damage, and it was just your problem will be resource sustain, which you should get that on your weapon. But then the another issue you will probably have with that is the weapon type, and your seven will only serve the purpose of doing an additional damage, like an additional dot damage, because of the empty use. The use of the empty tomb boots does do damage over time. Does give you additional damage over time, and it does help with the build up with the damage over time. So I will say that does help that you could do that build. I tried that build last season and it literally did carry for a long time. If you couldn't get like a higher prediction and everything like that, and if you only had like Shot of False Death or even Tyrael's Might and Ondariel's, those stack. So like Ondariel plus the plus Evan Piercer is actually okay. Like it's not the best. Don't get me wrong. Like your damage is going to feel kind of like but you're also not going to really die because you're getting so much health back. So I think that other build, like when I was using that, I tried it out. I was like, oh, it's okay. It's actually doing decent damage because at a point when you don't have all the gear, I feel like Sever for me as a Sever bro, that's my main build besides Blight. So Blight and Sever were my main builds, right? Sever is strong when you have all the gear online. Right now, it's so early in the season. Like I can't even find a GA amulet max int yet, and I've grinded for it. Um, I literally got a 2-star axe before I was able to find a GA int max int amulet, and then again for rings, like I'm still having a hard time finding max int rings with good other stats on there, like max int rings with attack speed on, because you're going to need that. That attack speed is needed for at least this build. You would unleash 50 to 70% attack speed. That way you can consistently keep attacking. Right here, I'm using an elixir to give me a 15% attack speed and lucky hit, which is really good for this build because you need the lucky hit to continue with your resource gaining and everything like that. And that's how I'm literally just going through just eating this mob's health bar, like, and it's flying so fast. And in the movement, you can control the battlefield so well with this build. And then because you're hitting them so often, like you're able to stun them super fast. Like you're literally shotgunning them, right? And then you're like doing it like because you're doing double attacking is like 6 times. So you're shotgunning them and then you get the double attack. So there's 6 shotguns and 6 shots, and it does damage over time and immediate damage too. So like right now, like see my numbers, like sometimes it'll be 25 mil, 25 mil. So it'll be 25 mil times 3 plus another 3, which is doing like say about another 100 or so mil, 100 like 50, 125 mil, 100 so mil. And that's doing decent damage on top of the dot damage. Your damage is going to skyrocket. Now here we're showing on my gear. I'm just going through my gear. I got core skills on my gloves. I got max int boots, gloves, and legs. Again, I show you my axe. Then I show you my amulet right here, and I show you that rings I'm using sacrifice in that ring. I just needed a ring that was a placeholder ring, and right there, that was my ring that I used. That was the resistance ring that I needed the resistance on right there. Shadow damage, vulnerable damage, and max life because I needed max life. And I show that you can use either attack speed more, get the more attack speed instead of max life if you feel like you have enough max life, or you can do more critical damage for your upfront. But I don't recommend that. Then I show my witch powers, honestly, showing you that if you don't have vulnerable, that you can put on vulnerability right here, the shaken soul. You can put vulnerability on your witch powers to save a slot on your ring, but I'd rather use the ring slot. Now, this is my skills pretty much. You got Reap, we got the Blight, and I show you that I go to the Paranormal Blight, which is the one that freezes, which I do like a lot. It tends to really help out. If you're not using a build that needs to buff the damage, and you're just using Blight as a spammable, then that's really good for AoE clear. I show you all my stats, pretty much spiked armor. You got We got Fueled by Death at rank 10, which I was showing you get 30% multiplicative every time you use a corpse. And then we got Corpse Explosion, which is another corpse shadow skill. Use that shadow skill for Reaper's Pursuit. And then we have another thing. You can also get that frailty right there on your weapon as well. And then that can increase your damage after ults, but I'd rather the corpse instead. And you see the Shadow Blight damage is about 500% multiplicative, which is crazy. And then we got the Reaper's Pursuit Sony at rank 9, and we have Gloom, I think almost at rank 9 too. Yeah, we have Reaper's Pursuit and Gloom at rank 9, and then we have Terror at rank 4. So I'm just showing you that all those multiplicative things are each and every shadow skill. And then we got Gloom, which is 18% times 4, right? So 18% times 4 damage. And then you have Terror. When they're frozen, you get all that damage, and then you get another damage on that too. And it's showing that that's the reason why I have all that damage up front, because my 2-star Ebon Piercer. So that's the reason why I'm just going over things right here. Going into deep details. I don't think this build is going to get past about 3,000 int because you're using Ebon Piercer, which is okay. But you got to really dig deep for the int. Like, unless you move around some more and you move some pieces of you don't care about stats on your weapon, aka like the rune or open rune slots, which I sometimes switch it out if I want more int. You can do that and get like about an additional like 100, like about 120 int or so. Now I'll show you my trees. Blood begets blood. I know I use wither. I use frailty. I use exploit on the frailty node, which I do think is actually okay. You can. This is always, you can change it out, whatnot. That's up to you. Then I use sin of death and everything like that. Anyways, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming through. I got sacrificial right there, and let me know what you think.